Democrats pressing ahead on the impeachment probe and taking some criticism on the way they dealt with Lewandowski as a hostile witness. Hours of frustrations led to the Judiciary Committee having the lawyer step in. Barry Burke hammering Lewandowski, breaking through some of the stonewalling tricks, and also using basic, straightforward, relentless cross-examination. We showed some of that regarding his lies, but there were other key moments. Take a look.
Did you say that because you wanted to protect the president? Why did you lie on national television, sir, about the president giving you a message to the attorney general about the special counsel's investigation?
I don't recall that particular day and my mindset at the time, so I couldn't answer that.
Did you receive immunity, sir? Sir, is that an admission that you did lie? And, sir, I don't believe there's any reason to consult with your counsel. The question is, are you a truth teller in that interview? Sir, did you deny it because you wanted to protect yourself?
It was strong, and many are discussing today whether, as you've heard even earlier on this show, Democrats should have just started with the staff lawyer pushing. Now, staff lawyers don't speak in normal committee hearings, but there are these new rules the Judiciary Committee passed precisely to do it this way. Now, what happens next? Will the impeachment strategy change? I want to bring in Elie Mystal, executive editor of Above the Law and a contributor at The Nation, who has been following this. What do you see?
Yeah, I was frustrated very much yesterday. If the Democrats want to move forward with this, if they want to truly put country over party, that has to start at home. They need to get over themselves and let the professionals handle this going forward, okay? Nobody's tuning into these hearings to see 17 Democratic congresspeople waffle about on their poorly prepared questions that they got off of an episode of Law and Order. This takes professional cross-examination to deal with the sneering hostility that the Trump people are giving them. And they don't know how to do it. That's not a total slam on them. You have to be trained to do this. Like, pro tip, if you find yourself yelling at a witness, that's a yes or no question. Guess what? Your question was bad.
Yeah.
Because if you asked a good question, there is only two options, right? Ari, do you like ties? That's not a yes or no question. Mr. Melber, are you wearing a tie today? Did
Yes.
you wear a tie yesterday?
Yes.
Here are 137 episodes of The Beat. Is this you in all the episodes? Are you wearing a tie in all these episodes? Mr. Melber, do you want this committee to believe that you do not like ties? That's how you do it.
Yeah.
All right? Like, it's an actual skill that the Democratic Congresspeople don't have. This whole hearing should have been designed to make Barry Burke the star, because he is the one who had the credentials and the experience to break Lewandowski down.
And you're speaking about something that comes up in law school, which is the good question elicits answers, moments, or non-answers that advance the strategy, rather than the speech making with a question mark at the end. And that's why when we think back to Watergate, and it's not all the same, but it was the Watergate example that even changed the rules this little bit. Everyone remembers the reveal that there were recording devices, and that could change everything. That question wasn't from a politician jumping around. Let's take a look, because it was the counsel for the committee whose disembodied voice you hear. Take a look.
Mr. Butterfield, are you aware of the installation of any listening devices in the Oval Office of the President?
I was aware of listening devices. Yes, sir.
Are you aware of any devices that were installed in the Executive Office Building office of the President?
Yes, sir, at that time.
Were they installed at the same time?
They were installed at the same time.
Then counsel Fred Thompson, who went on to be in your example of Law and Order, but that was a long time later. What do you see as the lesson there? And you write in a new piece, your argument is this is partly the ego of some members of the Judiciary Committee.
Yeah, as we see from Fred Thompson, you get to be a politician after you do that if you're a good lawyer, right? Not before. Look, I understand how it's supposed to work. I understand that Democrats all need their time, Congresspeople all need their time in front of the cameras. Everybody wants to be on your show or CNN or what have you. Everybody wants to get their moment. Where
everyone but Lewandowski now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he's coming back anytime soon. Everybody wants their little moment, but this is not what this should be. Like, Democrats keep telling us that we are in unprecedented waters with a uniquely criminal precedent, right? Well, they need to start acting like that. And the way you act like that is to have, again, these professional prosecutors, these professional attorneys really hammer down on these witnesses. There is a level of obstruction that the Trump administration is willing to go to. There's a level of disrespect that the Trump witnesses are willing to go to that these congresspeople simply aren't used to dealing with, and they're not ready to deal with that, right? And again, that's training. We have people who are specifically trained to deal with criminals and hostile witnesses and know how to elicit answers from them. People say, as you well know and you just alluded to, people say a good lawyer never asks a question they don't already know the answer to. That's true. A great lawyer never asks a question that they don't know all of the answers to and are ready to drill down on whatever you say because they've planned it out. You've seen it, I'm sure. When you look at a cross-examination like Notepad, it's not just a series of notes. It is a branching like decision matrix, right? It's a spider's web because you're ready to go wherever the witness takes you because you already know what the conclusion is.
Well, my last question for you, yes or no, is will you come back?
I absolutely will come back because I don't lie when I'm here.
Elie Mystal, thank you very much. Very interesting views there as people really debating how this all worked. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.